Okay, well, good good morning, everybody. I'm Lieutenant General Mike Ferriter, and you're at the National Veteran Memorial and Museum Virtual Rally Point. And today's a special day. It's always a great day to be a veteran. It's especially great to be with you today and to bring to you an amazing group of people who are going to carry on a great discussion that I know will be helpful for for all of us. Our panel today will be led by Gretchen Klingler, and this is an all-star military veteran panel because Gretchen served the United States Air Force. Gretchen is our veteran outreach coordinator, and she is the project and program owner of Rally Point. A little more on that in a second. Also is Matt Campbell, Navy Corpsman. I've learned a lot in multi-languages here. Navy Corpsmen are not medics. Army has medics, and Navy Corpsmen are superstars, as are our Army medics. Matt served with his Marines, and he'll tell you his story. And speaking of Marines, we have Theresa Larson, our dear friend, who comes to us from Southern California today, I suspect. And Theresa served as an officer in the United States Marine Corps as an engineer. And what she does today is also eye-watering, impressive. At a certain point, I'll transition away, and you'll have Colonel retired Bill Butler. And I close out and talk about way. So we've all been locked in now for some 45 days or so, and I hope you're all doing very, very well. We had some options at the National Veterans Memorial Museum, some leadership decisions, and we decided to stay open. We locked our doors and we stayed open. And so what we decided to do was, our mission is to tell the story of all veterans, and our museum does it in a most stunning and miraculous way, an amazing way. But actually, we see our mission is to impact the lives of as many people as we possibly can. And so all of our programming, in the end, I always ask our guys and girls, what's the in order to? We're doing this in order to what? And that made it very easy for us to remain open. 95% of the museums in America shuttered, closed down, and some may never open again. And we have the full staff. Been working the whole time. I'm just proud of them. I asked that we do something, that we pivot to a digital world, to an online world, to an online presence, to e-newsletters, e-membership letters, and everything else. That's stunning and amazing programming with Jennifer Ballou, Gold Star spouse, former First Sergeant U.S. Army retired, and Master Resiliency instructor. Jennifer was fantastic. And then this week we also had Josh Mons, an amazing Army cavalryman, an officer who was wounded and actually flatlined and died and was revived. And his story of strength is amazing in of itself. And then to make it even better, we have today's programming. And so it is about our audience and our desire to impact the lives of 1 million veterans and their spouses and friends and family every single year. And we're getting after it. And sadly, this pandemic that may have touched your lives, and if it did, I hope everyone's okay, and I hope everyone's getting through it. But it's allowed us to leap probably 24 months ahead in our life cycle to really we've got a virtual run coming on May 24th. I want you all to sign up, get your t-shirt, and on the middle of the t-shirt, it says, "I will always remember." And you can take a Sharpie and write the name of your loved one that may have been lost from World War II all the way up until the current conflicts. We'll also have an online and virtual memorial service, and you can take an iPhone 15 seconds worth and say, "I will always remember." And during the course of our day, as well as the virtual ceremony, then all day long we'll feature you telling us about the people that you love, and that's what Memorial Day is. So in the last public service announcement for me today. As you can see behind me, it says the National Veterans Memorial Museum. Membership drives our mission. And I sort of feel like a PBS or something guy right now. But we are the National Veterans Memorial Museum, but we don't get any federal money, any state money. And so it's all about donations, membership, and the like, so that we can impact lives. Really proud of all of you and your service. I found a hat on Fridays, end of week meetings. We do a little raffle of giveaways, hats and t-shirts. I found one that said, if you like your freedom, then thank a vet. And with that, I'm going to pass to Gretchen and stand by and marvel at what I'm going to learn and hear from Gretchen and this great group today. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Matt and Theresa. And Gretchen, it's all yours. I'm out.
Thank you very much, sir. And hello, everyone. I'm so glad to have you with us today. Before we get started having our panelists introduce themselves, I would like to do a little bit of a shout out on our text communication on Facebook Live, just to see where everybody's listening from or everybody's tuning in from. So if you are from Cheyenne, Wyoming, or if you're from Spokane, Washington, if you would just give us a little comment there and say, watching from Maryland or greetings from California. And we'd love to see things like that, especially to know just that you're here with us. To start off, I'm going to have our panelists introduce themselves, and then we're going to get right into a few discussion questions. So Theresa, hi, how are you?
Hello. From San Diego.
Representing.
Yes. I am right outside of the Marine Corps base right now, Miramar, my office. I'm in my office since I have a 3-year-old. I decided to come to my office to do this for some quiet. It's wonderful out here. Actually, the weather's been beautiful. Being that I'm going to be a mother of another little one soon, I am actually enjoying this time home more. However, it's definitely been a huge transition for all that I work with and the people around me. A little bit about myself. I went to Villanova University, played collegiate softball, joined the Marine Corps after, became a second lieutenant, and served about 3 3/4 years. Got out on a medical discharge. I had a mental health condition called bulimia and was treated for that, but got out honorably and was able to play a year, get healthy and play a year of professional softball, and then pursue what I'm doing now, which is I'm a doctor of physical therapy and certified strength and conditioning specialist. And I focus on helping veterans specifically, whether you're a special operator to, someone getting out early, like I did, to wherever you're at in the spectrum of serving, get back and find your new normal. So what that means is, like, we're in a new normal now, but we physically, especially, like, what happens when you have a permanent injury, like a missing limb or traumatic brain injury, or you're struggling with PTS and you struggle going into a fitness environment. Those are the kinds of things that I work with and teach and educate on. And so we get to see a lot of veterans in our practice, my physical therapy practice, but also we have a digital platform where we provide virtual education. And it's been really, really powerful, actually. So, and I have an amazing husband too, that's also part of my business. And my company is called Movement RX. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that introduction, Theresa. And I know we're going to get more into Movement RX and some of your prescriptions, per se, on how to stay fit during this time. I'd like to give Matt an opportunity to introduce himself. Matt, how are you?
Good morning, Gretchen. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on. I very much appreciate it. Just a little bit about me. I am a Navy Corpsman. Did 6.5 years, served honorably, got out in 2008. Personally, I had a pretty rough transition. I think for me, it was trying to find a new sense of mission and aspiration and purpose. And, it wasn't until a few years later where I stepped foot inside a VA, where I could connect with other brothers and sisters that understood me and truly understood the mission and could relate to what I was going through. I set out to make a mission to join the VA, and then started a job there in 2014, and have been working there ever since. Where I work now, I work within the Office of Patient-Centered Care and Cultural Transformation, and my role is a healthcare consultant. I support Region 4, which surrounds 37 different sites of VA care that's out there. My role specifically is to the network within Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan, and just really enjoy being able to work with facilities out there to implement and integrate a whole health system model of care into the VA healthcare system. Again, this is personal for me. My old unit has been pretty heavily hit with veteran suicide. So my mission each and every day is to set out to make a difference, be able to have that knowledge and wisdom to spread that amongst to all of my brothers and sisters out there.
Thank you so much, Matt. And I know that you work for over Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan, and that you are one of the individuals that works directly here with the Columbus VA that we have a fantastic relationship with at the National Veterans Memorial and Museum. So thank you both so much for being here with us and for your introductions. And I'd like to start off with a broad question. What are the top 3 things that come to your mind? We'll start with Theresa. When it comes to being healthy and maintaining your health in difficult situations?
That's a good question. The biggest ones, I always go back to recovery. So in times like this, even though we're at home more, there still can be stress on people. So even in the busy culture of driving to work and being at work and kids and life and all the things that we're involved in, we can get in the physical and mental. We can still have physical and mental stress, clearly, but now being at home with the uncertainty, it adds a little bit more. And I would like to add that life is kind of always uncertain. So now it's just a little bit more. There's a little bit more layers to it. Mm-hmm. But the biggest things that people can do to create more calm in their mind, which is where it's most important, is they can do it through their physical body. So getting enough sleep, right? We need to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And that's the research. There's very few people that need less than that. And so if you're not getting that, right, you're not giving your body and mind the time to recover. And that's when kind of mood issues and things can start to spiral. And the one to first admit that, like when I first started getting help for what I needed, sleep was the first medicine that was prescribed. Like, make sure you're getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep. The second thing is giving yourself time to move during the day. So because you're at home, like I'm at home with a 3-year-old, I'm also working and managing my company, right? And bouncing around, and parks are closed, beaches are closed. Actually, they just opened this week. Just getting outside and going for a walk, getting outside and doing some squats. My husband I got a prowler for my birthday so I can push a sled around my yard, which people look at me like, who's this pregnant lady pushing a prowler? Who cares? Just doing something where it's a good rule of thumb, every 25 minutes, get up and move for a couple minutes. It doesn't have to look like a crazy workout, just your body is designed to move. And then the third thing is nutrition-wise, eat as healthy as you can. So the thing is, we all live in different areas and have access to different kinds of foods, but the more whole foods that you can eat, the better. So preparing is always the key. Instead of buying a bunch of junk food snacks, you're probably going to eat those junk food snacks. I'll be the first to admit that would be what I would do and have done. However, if you buy yourself fruit and veggies and get them cut up and put them, prepare on a day or two a week, your snacks, prepare your meals, right? You'll be set up for success. Because when you're at home, you're more likely to snack more. So sleep, move, and then plan your food, plan your snacks, because the truth is you're going to do it. So make sure that they're as wholesome as possible.
So that sounds a lot like General Ferriter's 4 concepts of wellness, fitness, foodness, and restness.
Yes.
So it sounds like you've covered, yep. Sounds like you've covered all the bases, which means I'm going to throw a different question at Matt. Matt, let's talk about how we can grow and thrive while staying at home and still maintaining social distancing. What are your thoughts on that?
I would say probably the most important thing in maintaining wellness and being healthy while at home is how you take care of yourself, kind of like what Dr. Larson had said. We've all been challenged to kind of adapt in these difficult times. I think we must first ask ourselves, why do I want to change or maintain my wellness, and why is my health so important to me? And when we begin to see what's most important in our lives, such as our health, our loved ones, etc., we can make everyday choices around our own self-care. Some examples of that can be from the amount of exercise we do, the food we eat, the amount of rest we get, even all the relationships that we have. I feel like one of the things that has been vital to me and to help me grow and thrive is having a battle buddy or a buddy system, being able to work and hold each other accountable. Having someone to be there by your side and has had your back there for so long, and then surrounding yourself with healthy relationships and networks, and finding ways to still be there for one another.
No, I think that's a really great point, especially, having those healthy relationships around us and people that we can pick up the phone and call and say, I'm having a rough time, or, hey, just need to chat, need some of that social interaction going on. I think that's a really great point that you make, Matt. Thank you. So we've talked a little bit about fitness, but I want to throw out this question to you, Dr. Larson. What kinds of things are we able to do at home? Because a lot of the things that we would normally go do, we're not able to go be a part of. We can't go to gyms, we can't go to fitness classes, but there are still a lot of ways for us to be able to stay fit at home. What would you suggest about that? And also, what would you recommend for those who have mobility issues or considerations that need to be taken?
So that's a good question. And Matt, I also really appreciate your answer too. Just to go back, I think that being able to still reach out to your people, have a battle buddy is crucial. And I think that's really important for your fitness, actually. So I have a friend who I used to work out with quite a bit, who we live a mile apart, but she'll send me workouts, I'll send her workouts. And it's been good because each day we'll say, are you going to be doing this today and what time? So there's always that accountability check-in. But in terms of exact things that you want to do, so the biggest thing, the best form of exercise that you can do is you want to get some kind of cardiovascular conditioning in, so get your heart rate up. And ideally, the American Heart Association recommends 30 minutes a day for 5 days a week, and or a few days for 75 minutes of intensity. So you want to get your heart rate up. So going for a brisk walk could be that, right, in a hilly area, or could just be on a flat surface. It depends on where your conditioning level is. It would be like in heart rate up, meaning you've got your resting heart rate that you have in the morning. And so, getting it above 100, generally 120, is just a little bit above that is ideal. So you want to get out and do at least 30 minutes of moderate intensity conditioning. So it could be a walk, could be a run, it could be rollerblade, could be biking, right? Whatever does that for you. We don't need your heart rate at max capacity, which is usually 220 minus your age. We don't need it to be up there. We just want it to be a little bit above 100, 120, depending on your age. Right? If you're a little bit older, over 65, I would say no more than 120. If you're a little bit younger, than that, then you can go up a little bit higher. So ensure that you get that for your heart health, right? Your heart health is super important. And like I said, if you're getting up every 25 minutes, you are actually burning more calories anyway that way, and burning more than just sitting all the time. So there's actually a study, I forget how many more calories you burn. I think it's 1,200 if you stand the majority of your day. So just think, even if you were just to stand the majority of your day and move around, right, you're still burning way more than you would just sitting. The other thing is strength training. It's really important to get in some strength training. I'm not talking with weights, I'm talking body weight stuff. Most of the stuff that we teach is how to improve your primal movement. So you think about, I'm going to show you here. So squatting, right? When you squat down to a chair, when you squat down to a toilet, right? You can do squats, right, to a chair, which is going to help strengthen your glutes, which is going to help strengthen your thighs, which is going to help strengthen your lower legs, which is really important for mobility. If you're someone in a wheelchair or aren't able to get up, actually lifting yourself up out of your chair and working towards that is really important to give yourself pressure relief off of your backside. But consistently doing that throughout the day, that's going to strengthen your arms, because if you're in a wheelchair, your arms are your legs. The other component is, doing things like, if you have a band at home, or if you have a surface that's pretty steady, you can do push-ups right on a surface. You can do banded presses, things like that, to get that horizontal pushing. You can also do pull-aparts with the band, right? You can get these bands for pretty cheap online, just TheraBands essentially, and you can do a lot with that. But you can also, so the squatting, it would be doing some kind of pushing, doing some kind of pulling exercise. It would be hinging over, so being able to hinge over and pick something up, practicing that movement, right? All of those four, and then maybe even carrying something like a suitcase. Get a suitcase out of your garage and carry it around, right, to build strength in the arms. So the 5 primal movements, to wrap it up, is squat, hinge, push, pull, carry. And those are all movements that we have to do in our life. So if you're in a wheelchair, right, you won't be carrying it around. You'll just maybe do some side bends with a suitcase. If you're in a wheelchair and you can't get up to hinge, you just hinge over as far as you can and use your hands to help push back up, right? You're just getting those ranges of motion that your body needs, because the more sedentary your joints are, right, the more restricted they're going to get, right? Your body adapts the positions it holds. So the more motion you can get out of your body and more movement you can get, the better. So essentially, it doesn't have to look like a workout. I'm all about going out and doing a 20-minute workout, and you can definitely do 3 sets of 8 squats, right? 3 sets of 8 push-ups, whatever that looks like for you. Or every 25 minutes, you can do 5 dips, 5 squats. But just make sure you're getting in that cardiovascular conditioning, because your heart health right now, especially with being so confined, that's the one thing that's fallen off for me, that I've had to really think about how to ramp up. So,
And so Matt, building off of that, so thank you, Theresa, for giving us all those examples and the words I am looking for but can't find. It is still early in Ohio.
Yeah, it's okay.
The demonstration, that's the word.
Yeah, of course.
And Matt, I wanted to ask you, what does moving the body look like within the VA concept of whole health?
Gotcha. Yeah, there's a couple of different exercises, such as there's chair yoga, there's stretches, there's chair tai chi, and like Dr. Larson said, wheelchair exercises, water therapy that can be modified for people with limited mobility due to chronic pain or injuries. For example, the chair tai chi is a seated version that can be practiced at home or work. It's just an easy chair or wheelchair that can be used and things like that. Perhaps if one is bedridden, Perhaps things just as like simple, like for arts, like painting or writing. And if someone doesn't have like great mobility with their hands, they could ask a family member or a loved one or caregiver to help document or help them, just to kind of continue to keep the mobility and the activity up to speed, so to speak.
I think that's great, Matt. Thanks for adding the additional points too about the chair yoga and Tai Chi. I know that there's a lot of VAs that are offering these programs, so I think it's really important that we talk about those as well. I'd also like to ask Matt, when we think about food, and we had talked a little bit about food and making sure that we're eating healthy, because a lot of us are only doing trips to the grocery store once a week, or there are places in the country that people haven't left their apartment for 50 days. And so you have to plan out what you're going to be eating or how you're going to be getting your groceries. So I wanted to ask, what does healthy eating look like for us during this time? And can you give us any advice on planning for healthy eating?
Yeah, so just maybe a couple of things that come to mind, in meal preparedness, taking a couple hours at the beginning of each week to plan your meals for the rest of the week, potentially cooking in batches, meaning just cooking once for the rest of the week, and that be for all the meals you need, and then freezing some of them, keep them in the refrigerator, maybe considering keeping a salad or something like that in the fridge, repurposing leftovers, making a new meal out of leftover ingredients from a previous meal, but just thinking about ways in which you can eat healthy, drinking more water, portion control, trying to limit your salts, your fat, and your sugar intake, eating more sugar, vegetables, beans, and whole grains, just things like that. And there's a lot of healthy snacks that are out there: apples, protein bars, bananas, just celery. There's a lot of different things that we can do. I think one of the challenges that my family has done is try to see what you can make out of your pantry with what you got. So that's kind of surprising to see what you can come up with. But just thinking about what do with what you have and see how creative you can be.
I think that's a great point. When I think back on deployment and making new flavors out of MREs and getting this one from this package and this one from that package, some of us became some really great hot sauce chefs out there. But I think that's a great point. Thank you, Matt. If you're just now joining us, I want to say hello from the National Veterans Memorial Museum here in Columbus, Ohio. And we have Matt Campbell and Dr. Theresa Larson on with us talking about some of General Michael Ferriter, who is our CEO. He's outlined some ideas on wellness, fitness, foodness, and restness. So we're having a little bit of a discussion on that. And I'm going to throw out one more question, but then I'd also like to say it is about halfway through our program, and I'd like to also open it up to questions from our viewers. So if you have a question, please feel free to type it into the comments on our Facebook Live, and we will go through and pick out a few questions. Theresa, I wanted to ask you about the concept of restness. You touched on it a little bit earlier, but right now we're all kind of feeling restless. A lot of us want to go out, we want to get involved, we miss our friends. How can we find rest when we feel restless?
It's a good question. And this is part of this, it's a, it's a practice. If you haven't started already, you can start now, but using the breath as a vehicle to do that. And as simple as that sounds, and believe me, like 5 years ago, if you were to tell me to sit down and breathe and work on any kind of form of meditation, I'd have been like, yeah, right. Don't tell me to do that. But through all the mental health work I've done with professionals and on my own, this is just an uncertain time, and there's a lot of things that are out of our control. And the thing that we can do is work on our internal world and what we're saying. And I really love the way, so my husband, or not my husband, my little one watches this thing called Zen Den, right? And it's like this woman who teaches cosmic yoga, but, you know, you think of yourself like a pond. And then, you know, in the pond comes the angry fish, and then the worried fish, and then the uncertain fish, and then the sad fish. And I'm like, what a great analogy there. Like, so the point is, you want to train yourself to be the pond, not latch on to the anger, latch on to the sadness, latch on to the worry. And it's very easy to do because when you don't understand the mind, you can feel out of control. But understand that the mind is 62% or more usually has a negative bias. So if you add on all of the news and the things that you're hearing, and then, oh, by the way, you're by yourself more, it can get very scary up here. But just, I think, understanding that our mind is going to want to go to a more negative place anyway. So you really have to battle that. And the way you battle that is through getting some time for yourself. I know for parents with little ones, that's like, what is that? I mean, you have to create it, whether it's at nap time for me or early in the morning or at night, but taking some time to literally work on your physiology and creating calm. So with the breath is like a remote control for the brain and body. So when you breathe in through your nose and you exhale out your mouth or out your nose, right, you want to make a longer exhale. And let's say you did that for 3 or 5 minutes. Like, everyone just try it right now. Breathe in through your nose and then out through your mouth for 4 to 8 seconds, right? Do that for a period of time. And I would start with 3 minutes if you've never done this. But what it does is it starts to like calm the monkey mind, especially if you can hone your mind. It's like training a muscle, right? You think about training your bicep, training the squat, right? We have to train our mind just the same way. There's always uncertainty in our life, always. This just happens to be more. And so when you can literally just be there and know all this stuff is going on, but choose to focus your attention on, okay, the rise and fall of my diaphragm, right? Where I'm sitting on the bench, where I'm laying down on the ground, like just focus on one thing. And then usually the best thing to focus on is a physical thing, like what your body is literally doing. And when you can do that for upwards of 3 minutes, you know, build up to 5, build up to 7, build up to 10 over time, your body is like a vacation for your mind. And so then you go back, you insert yourself back into this uncertain time again in your life, and you're like, oh, that thing wasn't as big of a deal. It's literally shifted, it's a process, not a pill, of course. It's literally shifted my crazy anxiety sometimes that I can get in the morning to, okay, I got this, right? Like it deflates. Like if you start up here anxiety-wise in the morning, it can bring you down to here. Power of breath. I mean, there's so much science behind it. And there's so many thought leaders I've worked with in this field. It's just like, but just knowing that if you want to calm here, then you have to create calm and ground yourself in your body. And the breath is the way to do that.
Great. Thank you. Matt, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think what's powerful about just rest and good sleep, it's vital to our survival and our overall health. For example, Dr. Larson talked on the folks that have less than 5 hours of sleep versus those that have greater than 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And I think some of the research that points to, 42% are greater chance of obesity that don't have that less than 5 hours. There's 60% more chance of having high blood pressure, 40% for more diabetes, and 62% for a greater risk of stroke, and 152% increase in having a heart attack. So just keeping all those things in mind, and then realizing how important rest and recharge and sleep is for us, it has an overall impact on our health.
That's so true. Thank you. If you haven't heard the call, we're taking audience questions as well. So if you have a question on wellness or fitness or foodness or restness, which is the model that our CEO, General Michael Ferriter, follows, please add those into the comments on Facebook. I see that our friend Steve Ebersol says events like this help with the restlessness. And I absolutely agree, feeling like you're a part of that community and that you're joining into something, and that if you know others are joining in as well, you can call them later and say, hey, what did you think about this concept? This can be a great conversation point for so many people who are looking for new things to talk about other than what they cooked for dinner last night, which is usually my thing to talk about. So while we're thinking about some of these things, before we get to the end of it, are there any things that we haven't touched on yet that you feel like would be a great thing for us to leap into while we're getting towards the end of our conversation?
For any of us? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to go off of what Matt said, actually. I really, the sleep is important, but I have found, so, I think understanding your overall, are you introverted or extroverted, or where on the spectrum? Obviously, there's a spectrum of that. I am pretty highly introverted, so I like alone time. I like peace and quiet. I know my extroverted friends who are socialites, like this is a little bit, this can even be more challenging because you just aren't able to be around people as much. But introverted or extroverted, that outreach to a friend, I have found that I've organized more connection with my family. I have organized more connection with friends than I would have before. I've been in touch with people I haven't been in touch with in a while, and it's been really helpful for me. I'm, 2 months away from giving birth to my second son, and I have other friends who are also in the same boat that I can talk to. I've been on the phone crying with them, because they've been having a tough day. And as much as I'd like to just breathe that away, I need someone to talk to, right? I've also made sure I keep in touch with my health professionals. I work with a counselor each week, telehealth, through the VA. I am a health professional, so I keep in touch with my patients that way. That need to connect, the need to see someone's face online versus just a phone call can be super therapeutic too. This is way more therapeutic than just picking up the phone and doing a chat. I can actually see your eyebrows move. I can see your eyes move, right? And that makes me feel there's more of a dopamine response there because of that. Mm-hmm. So I would just want to just add that.
Yeah. I see we have a question that came in, and Matt, I'd like to offer this one to you to start with. Our friend and one of our great volunteers, Sue, had asked, what are some strategies to start developing better sleep routines? I'm sure that VA and Whole Health has a lot to think and say about that. But if you don't feel like it's also in your wheelhouse, feel free to pass it on. But I wanted to give you the opportunity to start.
Yeah, I think just there's a few things that simple things that could potentially help out. We're also accustomed to having a routine. And so having a specific wake up time, setting your alarm, having a fixed time every day to kind of kick off your day and get started is just one. When we talk about feeling restless and being able to focus and be able to get true rest, having a wind down time, perhaps, taking important time to relax, get ready for bed. It could be things like light reading or stretching or meditating, just things like putting on your pajamas and brushing your teeth, just little things that help prepare you to wind down. Picking a consistent bedtime, perhaps, try to eliminate some of the screen time that a lot of us are having our phone glued to our hands and taking the moment to kind of just decompress and spend time just getting ready for bed. I think blocking off specific times of the periods of the day for work and exercise and just, showering, getting dressed, even every part of the day. There's just little things that we could do just to incorporate all throughout our day that would help us maintain that consistency.
Yeah. Theresa, it looks like one of our friends, Daryl Enfinger, had gave you a shout out and said thank you for the breathing techniques info because he says he hasn't slept for more than 4 hours a night since 1967. So hopefully some of these techniques help him. I see some other comments on how breathing techniques and putting minds at ease earlier and starting that process earlier in the evening have helped others as well. So I think that sounds like we've already reached out and helped individuals at least create a new plan or start trying to find something to put those plans into place. Looks like I'm going to ask Dr. Larson a question from Christina, and Christina is concerned about some of the the fatigue that settles in her shoulders and in her lower spine, and she wants to know if you have any suggestions for her.
Yes, so that's a very common place. So the skeleton behind me, see the skeleton back here? He's a little far away, but the neck and the lower back are the areas that they're the stability joints of our body. They're the areas that they have a lot of range of motion, but they need to have control with that range of motion. And so what happens is if you're, working like this, or you tend to fall into this position or sit a lot, right, we can get this forward head posture. And so the forward head posture, for every for every inch forward your head is on that upper C-spine, I should say lower cervical spine, so that the base of your neck, for every inch forward your head is, that's 10 or 11 pounds of pressure going into the musculature and joints in your spine, all the way down to your lower back. So the things that you can do, just to start without even doing a test, is my suggestion would be stand up against a wall, pretend I'm against the wall, put my heels against the wall, my butt. Where do my shoulders and neck fall from the wall, right? Most likely they're forward from it. So what I want you to do is squeeze your butt gently, roll your shoulder blades back, draw the rib cage down. So I don't want you to have any flared ribs. I want ribs down, and then chin tucked. How far do you have to tuck your chin for the back of your head to touch the wall? And already, if you get yourself against the wall and do that, have 4 points of contact, head, back of shoulders, butt, heels, right? You're gonna feel already in a better alignment with your spine, and then step away from the wall, and can you maintain that, right? So that's gonna be the hard part. But you need that, what we call proprioceptive input, tactile input, to check in and see what is actually good posture. Because if your head's always forward, that's a lot of pressure constantly going into your spine. So that can take a lot of pressure. Just even me doing that right now takes pressure off of my upper shoulders and my neck. And so the other things you can do is just take your neck, and so get in alignment, and then take your neck through ranges of motion in that new position. So side bend, right to left, rotate your neck, right to left, look up towards the sky, right? Bring your chin down, right? Bend over and touch your toes. Reach up towards the sky. Just once you get in, the alignment, you sit against the wall, test yourself, step away. Now start moving your neck, right? That's little things like that can go a long way for your joints. So think of this cue as good. A good cue is motion is lotion, right? You can't just sit there like we all do at times and just be sedentary. Get in good alignment, and then take yourself through these necessary ranges of motion. And I guarantee you, your body will start to feel better, and you'll feel less stress in those areas. Oh,
I was muted. Hello.
Uh-oh.
Technical difficulties. Looks like there was a question from Aaron, and Aaron wants to know, I'm going to throw this one to Matt. What suggestions or ideas can you give to family, friends, and partners to help motivate the veterans in our lives and overall wellness?
Wow, that's a great question. I think one of the first questions you think about is truly taking care of yourself first, and realizing that you are the most important person is you, and being able to truly focus on the best possible version of yourself. and what steps or goals you can take in order to better oneself. But also, like I mentioned earlier, having that battle buddy, encouraging someone to be there along with each and every one of us to help kind of keep us, pat us on the back from time to time, give us a kick every now and then. But one of the things I would challenge everyone is to take a look at where they're at on their own personal health, and complete a personal health inventory. Or I think it could be something that could be the first step in truly looking at aligning where you're at in your life, looking at where you are and where you want to be, and then having that accountability person to be able to be there and help coach you along the way. You guys setting goals together and you guys achieve those goals together. And I think that's something I found has been extremely motivating to me, knowing that I have a network out there of my brothers and sisters that at any time I could count on them, and they could motivate me and give me a good kick if I need it from time to time.
Yeah, that's something that I've noticed Steve and it looked like Scott comment in our comment section about how the American Legion does buddy checks.
Yes.
And usually, that once a month, give people in the post or in the district a call and see how they're doing, make sure that there isn't anything that they need and that the organization can provide for them. So that concept of a buddy check or giving somebody a call is also just so important. Looks like Vicky has a question, and Vicky says, so many friends have said that being out of their work environment has made them feel as if they've lost their identity and replaced it with an alternate one, and often of a caretaker for the family, etc. I feel this may be similar to a soldier when they leave the military service. Wow, that's a really interesting take and comparison on that. What can we say to ourselves or to others to help them still feel like themselves? I will open that up to either of our panelists that would like to provide your insights on that.
That is a good comparison, or interesting comparison. I would say that just thinking of it as coming from personal experience as a Marine, once a Marine, always a Marine. We're always, whatever branch of service we're from, that's always part of who we are. But we are so much more than just what we do, right? It's the things we learn and the things that the people we encountered, all of that's a big part of our life, but we're so much more anyway than just a soldier, a Marine, a mother. And I mean, that's going really deep, but I think the thing to think about is and I'm not sure if it's just in relation to this time or always, but I'll just apply this to always, whether it's now and during this pandemic or always, is that, look at the qualities that you have in your life, whatever you do, whatever for work you do, you were as a soldier, you are a parent, a father now, a mother, maybe you're an athlete, you run a business, whatever it is, like those are all just things that your body is and mind have grown attached to, like you've been a part of, and that's part of your identity and always will be. But I think being able to tap into the fact that you're so much more than just what you do. You're like think of what are the characteristics you would define yourself? Disciplined, strong, courageous, brave. All of those things brought you to be a soldier, brought you to start a family, maybe start a business, or do the things you're doing in your life now, volunteering, whatever it is. So I would just suggest to think like deeper than just what you do. Because again, we're all connected here by being veterans, and that's a huge camaraderie and way to connect. This is a very, very special community. However, all of us, that's a part of our identity. But what's the reason why we became that is because we want to serve. And that service never ends. Like, I still want to serve. I'm not in the military anymore, but I still want to serve. And so that deeper layer of why we did what we did is who we are, not the actual thing. Hopefully that makes sense.
No, I think that makes great sense.
Yeah. Gretchen, I would just say, truly being able to look within, as truly think about how you can best take care of yourself. And the most important person is you, and realize you have to take care of yourself before you take care of the others. Understanding that you've overcome challenges before, and you will overcome the challenges that we're facing now. And as Dr. Larson says, looking forward, we're all looking forward to getting back to some sense of normalcy again. We're all experiencing a time that none of us have ever experienced before. And how do we put one foot in front of the other each and every day as we live, and choosing to live it as positively as possible, and letting us try to focus on the bright side and the gratitude that lies within each and every day, and be thankful that we are given another day to breathe and live life. And then lastly, look outwardly. We may not all be in the same boat, but we're all in this storm, I guess you could say. And these are all extraordinary times that need extraordinary actions of grassroots networks to check in on those that we love, and encouragement, and how we can band together and help one another. So I would encourage each and every person to reach out to someone that truly needs it, and check in with one another.
Yeah, I've seen in some of the comments as well that one of our friends of the museum, Randy, had said that he's used some of this time to reach out to people that he hasn't talked to in years. And for me, I've in some cases used it as an opportunity to reach out to friends around the world to find out how they're dealing with things, or what their space looks like during this time. And maybe I haven't had a chance to talk to them for a while, but suddenly we're all connected in this new way. And it's been nice to be able to reach out to them, even if it is for a difficult reason. We're about ready to start wrapping up, it looks like, but I did want to give an opportunity that we usually do at Rally Points that we call community announcements. So what community announcements are is, if you are a member of an organization that is helping or serving veterans, if you are a part of an AMVETS or American Legion or VFW post that has things going on for veterans that you would like to invite us to become a part of. Doesn't matter if you're here in Columbus, Ohio, or if you are in Montana, because we're going to be having people not only watching this in Columbus, but all across the country and potentially all across the world, because the National Veterans Memorial Museum does have members outside of the United States, which is so exciting to us. So if you have an organization that serves veterans, or has an event coming up, or a virtual meeting that you would like to invite people to be involved with, take that link out of the website and post it in the comments for everybody to be able to see. And that way we can continue to share moments like these and continue to build community. I'd like to offer the opportunity for final thoughts from our panelists before I hand it off to our Chief of Staff, Bill Butler, for a wrap up. Theresa, do you have any final thoughts or some takeaways that you hope our audience has from our conversation today?
Well, there's a lot of nuggets here, and it's been an honor to be on with you, Matt, and Gretchen, and the entire veteran staff. I would just say, from during this time, and always is like, what can you do to take care of yourself? There's always excuses, honestly, that can come up, like, this is too hard, or, just building habits are challenging, building new habits. And so, try not to be hard on yourself during this time if you've never done any kind of breath practice. So you're not someone who moves a lot, or you're like, oh, this is a lot of new concepts for me. Like, just be gentle on yourself, and we oftentimes don't find value in health and well-being or certainty until we lose it. And that's just human nature, right? So, like, take this time to think about building like your resilience, physical resilience. And through physical resilience, you're going to be building mental resilience too. So taking little things like getting up every 25 minutes, getting that sleep, which really will impact your mood, I'm telling you. And then the breath work, 3 minutes, start with that. Those are just some simple things to start engaging and keeping yourself healthy that take very little time. And reach out to people you haven't reached out to in a while, or someone that you tell someone each day that you love them, a part of your family. That's also a really nice therapeutic thing to do, being vulnerable. So those are my final thoughts. Simple things.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Matt, what are your final thoughts on our discussion?
Yeah, I think it could be summarized in 3 things. Look within, look forward, and look outward. Look within yourself to truly think about how you can take care of your best possible self. Looking forward to getting back to the normalcy and being able to get back out there and integrate into the community and focus on getting on with our daily lives. And then looking outwardly, I think as Dr. Larson had touched on so nicely, is thinking that we have our brothers and sisters that are out there, and truly taking the time to reach out to each and every one of them during the time of this moment. And also knowing, that the VAs across the world that are out there to help. There's vet centers. There's tons of resources out there. So reach out and ask for help if one truly is needing that help.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So I want to say a quick thank you to Dr. Theresa Larson and to Matt Doc Campbell for taking your time today and sharing your knowledge and your experience with all of us, not only who are currently watching, but everyone who will be watching this in the future as well. So I know you've made some wonderful points, and I hope that those of us that have joined late, that we go back and we listen to the beginning part of this discussion and hear how the conversation has evolved to where it is right now. So thank you to both of you for being a part of our panel. And my name is Gretchen Klingler. I am the Veteran Outreach Coordinator here at the National Veterans Memorial and Museum. And now I'm going to hand it off to our Chief of Staff, Colonel Bill Butler, U.S. Army retired, for him to wrap up some announcements about what's going to be going on at the museum coming up.
Thank you, Gretchen.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks, Gretchen. Dr. Larson and Matt, thank you for participating today. I thought it was a great dialogue and discussion. We had some wonderful comments from the field and some great questions, so thank you for sharing that. More importantly, thanks for your service. Both of you are veterans, and thanks for what you continue to do to serve the veteran communities in each of your own ways. It's just great. So like Gretchen said, I'd like to mention a few of the things that we've got coming up in the near future to honor, connect, inspire, and educate. So the first one is Giving Tuesday. So Giving Tuesday has switched from the fall to May 5th. In an effort to help give back to the communities in this time of need, particularly the nonprofit sector, which everybody has pretty much shut their doors and is trying to pivot and adjust how we do business. And Giving Tuesday is this May 5th. And if you know of a charity that's impacted your life or impacted the lives of others, I would encourage everybody to try to support whatever charity that might be. So as a nonprofit, we don't receive any federal funding. We're federally designated and recognized as the only National Veterans Memorial and Museum in the United States, but we don't get any funding. The funding that we do get comes from members, sponsors, and donors. So I'd encourage everybody to give a Memorial Day gift in memory of our fallen heroes. Also on over Memorial Day weekend, so May 22nd through the 25th, we have planned a virtual run, race, walk, and it's the Honor Them Together National Run Walk. So I would encourage anybody who needs to get out and do some moving around to either not drive your spouse and kids crazy, or just to get out and enjoy some fresh air, is get out and participate in the walk or the run. So we've got 1 mile distance, a 5K, or a 10K. The 10K is representative, it's 6.2 miles, and it's representative of the 6 branches of military service. So with the creation of the Space Force back in December, we now have 6 branches of the armed forces. So I'd encourage everybody to get out there and honor the memory of a lost service member who lost their life in the line of duty. And this is a great opportunity because it's a virtual event and you can do it on your own and safely social distance from anybody else who might be out there. If you register before May 18th, you'll get your event t-shirt prior to, and you can wear it. And like General Ferriter said at the beginning, on the back of the t-shirt, there's a white block. And if you are so inclined, you can write the name of the person that you're walking or running to honor. And then finally, the National Veterans Memorial and Museum will be hosting a virtual Memorial Day ceremony to honor all veterans who've given their lives in the line of duty. So I would encourage everybody to watch as we do that on Monday, May 24th. I'm sorry, May 25th at 10 o'clock. And then follow our Facebook page and subscribe to our newsletter for any upcoming events or details of events that I mentioned. So thanks for spending all of your time with us today. Thanks for the great dialogue and the interaction, and everybody have a wonderful Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.